Welcome to Auburn, Our Story, a series presented by the White River Valley Museum exploring unique perspectives on our area's extraordinary history. In this episode, Ken Bradford meets with us to discuss his unique perspective on the legacy of a beloved Auburn institution. In 1946, Dahlgren Masseys Food Market opened its doors to huge crowds of people and great anticipation. With the only paved parking lot and largest floor plan of any market on the West Coast, the store was an innovative and exciting venture. Newspapers boasted the most progressive market in the country, featuring novelties like homogenized milk, a room dedicated fully to the ripening of tomatoes, a porcelain-lined meat refrigerator, and full candy and lunch counters. Commerce in Auburn would be forever changed. Ken Bradford began work behind the meat counter at Masseys in 1947 and continued to work at the store until it closed its doors almost 50 years later. Bradford shares with us the highlights of his remarkable career and reflections on the significance of Masseys in the Auburn community.
My name is Ken Bradford, and I started working at Masseys store. It was then known as Roy Dahlgren and Myron Masseys, Dahlgren and Massey. And I started working when I was a junior in high school, 17 years old, and I had heard that they were looking for a cleanup kid in the meat department. So I went in after school and talked to the manager of the market. His name was Kenny Faulkner, and told him why I was there. And he says, can you take a joke? And I says, yeah, pretty good. He says, well, you'll make it then. You come in tomorrow night after school and get started. So I did. So anyway, I came in, and there were 7 meat cutters there, and I was the kid, and I could see what was in store for me. Lots of joking, which is fine. So anyway, we went on, and I'd come in after school and clean up, and then as time went on, I was slicing lunch meat and taking care of the lunch meat end of the meat case after school and on Saturdays. And then I began waiting on a customer now and then, and which was nerve-wracking. And the guys were all really good to help me and show me the ropes. And then as a little time went on, I think in about 1955, we went from a conventional market, is a market where you wait on the customers and you all personal service, and we went into self-service. And that was about the time that Al Olson from the Olson Farm, which the city has taken over and restoring and doing a beautiful job, incidentally, would come in, and he had veal, and we would order a veal from him, and he would take the veal out to the packing house and have it butchered and then bring it in to us. And he would come to the back door and ring the buzzer and go back, and there would be Al Olson with the veal on his pickup truck delivering it. And so we'd hang that on the hooks and roll it on the scales and weigh it, and it was figured up how much a pound it was, and make out a slip for him with the weight of the veal and the price of the veal. Then he would go up in front to the check stands and collect the money for it, and then he would come back to the market, and inevitably he would say, Kenny, I think I'd like to have about 3 or 4 slices from that liver. And now this was fresh veal liver. Very good. So we would get the liver out and fix up these slices for Al, and then he would take those up front and pay for them and out the door. Well, we would see him again in about maybe 3 weeks with another veal. So that's how I got to know Al Olson. Nice little man. and good to do business with. And in those days, you did a lot of business with local people, truck gardeners with their vegetables. We had vegetables coming to the store. It still had the dew on the leaves of all the vegetables. It was just that fresh cut right out of the field that morning. They'd be lining up to unload their loads. And so we were in self-service meats at that time, and the business was just really booming. We were doing probably in the very early 60s, late 50s, early 60s, we were doing 80 quarters of beef a week, which is a lot of beef. That's a lot of beef. And plus all the pork that we sold, and all the lunch meats and smoked meats and all. So it was just really rolling. There was 4 meat cutters and 3 wrappers at that time, working from 9 o'clock till 6. The saw would turn on at 9 o'clock in the morning and be running all day until maybe about 4:30, 5 o'clock, when it started getting time to start cleaning up. And that was day in, day out like that. So it was just really a terrific amount of business. The store opened in 1946, and I believe opening day they had people lined up from the front door down the block and around the corner waiting to get in. It was the largest freestanding supermarket this side of the Mississippi River, according to the figures we heard from. And there was, I would guess, 30, 40 employees, plus box boys. We called them box boys then because they were boys. But anyway, box boys then. And they had an important job, which they were told about, how important their job was to take care of the customers. They were the last ones to have contact with the customers, and they were to be on the ball and treat everybody just so. And the whole operation then was so much different. It was so personal then, as it's not quite so personal now, I don't think. We would have people come through and they forgot the billfold or something. That's all right. Next time you come in, we'll just keep your slip for you. Next time you come in, you can pay for your groceries, and that's fine. And people would call, and they were having a luncheon or some kind of a get-together at their house, and they were running too close on the ham or too close on something. They would call, and you just get it together, hop in your car, and deliver it to their house, to the back door, so the guests wouldn't know what was happening, and you'd go back to work and think nothing of it. That was just that was a part of the business. One of the unique things about the new store was it had the cement parking lot, which previous to that, all the parking lots were in gravel, and this was just unheard of. A cement parking lot with stripes for the cars to pull in between, and it was so first class. And it had the lunch counter, full lunch counter with probably 30 stools. I don't know for sure how many exactly, but maybe 30 stools, and a full-size bakery that baked the fresh donuts every morning. You could smell those cooking when you'd come into work. And the hardware section, and a candy counter. It was strictly just a candy counter with 2 ladies that worked in it, and a section with cosmetics and such. In those days, the stores didn't have those things, plus the produce department, the meat department, and the groceries. And in the meat department, in the cooler, there was a a barrel, 50-gallon barrel full of dill pickles, and a 50-gallon barrel full of sauerkraut, and a 50-gallon barrel with corned beef curing in that brine. It was just a huge, huge success, of course, and there was many people that thought Massey was a little far out in the country, that he might not even make it out there. He was so far out into the country instead of being right downtown. Of course, that was wrong. Then as the years go on, we started, the television came into the picture. They had all of these Captain Puget and different kids programs entertaining the kids. Well, Myron, every so often, would have one of those entertainers come out to the store for Friday afternoon and Saturday. And the people would swarm in, of course, because they were there performing at the store. And so it was promotion, but it was a good thing. The kids loved it, of course. The people liked it. And that's where Sandy came into the picture. Practically every kid walking around today that's 50 years old has been on that horse. And it was a great thing. And there again, it was a promotional thing, but it was a good thing. The kids loved it. They loved it. And Myron had the little shopping carts. You may have heard about those. And they were just real small for the little kids. And now you might think, well, you give a little kid a shopping cart, he's going to be tearing through the store like crazy. It wasn't like that. Probably had a dozen of them. And here they are pushing this little shopping cart through with their mother next to them with her shopping cart. And she had put a couple of things in that little shopping cart. Well, there again, that's family, and that's putting everything together. And that's the way the whole operation was. It was just like a huge, big family. That's the way you felt about everybody coming in. And they felt like that about you. And Ed Gary would broadcast Radio Casey from our store inside every Thursday, if I remember right, every Thursday afternoon. And Grace would play this organ, soft music throughout the store. And people just loved it. And it was a great thing. It was a great thing. Incidentally, the store was the first around that had music playing in the store all the hours it was open. They had these speakers in the ceiling of the store. Then they had the big speakers, which now they wouldn't. They'd be a whole different setup. But the music was just a constant, quiet, pleasing Jackie Gleason music. If anybody remembers Jackie Gleason, the music was real soft and real pleasant. Shoppers liked it. And that didn't happen in other stores. I think we had so many firsts in the business that we had people coming from as far as Gig Harbor, lots of people from Enumclaw, Buckley, Renton, Kent, Sumner, Puyallup, just to come there to shop. And we had many people that would travel there just to see the operation, because maybe they had in mind of building a new store and they wanted to see what it was all about. It was just a great experience, and I can truthfully say I don't think there was a half a dozen days I didn't feel like I could hardly wait to get to work. I loved to go to work, and most everybody that worked there was the same way. And we used to kid Myron about taking a vacation. The longer he stayed away, the better the store ran. And And it didn't really run better, but in a way it did, because I think when he was gone, everybody put out just a little bit more effort than when he was there, even because he had trust in you to let you run the operation. And in those days, we wrote all of our own ads, did all of our own buying, strictly independent. Every decision we made, not a big office back east or something. Right there, everything was made right there. All of the decisions, and it gave you a lot of self-pride, and one of the biggest things was to take good care of the customers. They were always first, no matter what. No matter what, they came first. You came second. And that's why you were where you were, is because of the customers, not because of what you were doing, but because they were in there shopping. And so that was the big thing. The whole crew was a big family. They were a big family. And that was so important, to help each other in every way. And you'd see these people out in other places. They'd always be so glad to see you. And as if you hadn't seen them for 20 years, and you'd probably seen them the day before. But anyway, always glad to see you wherever you were. And you get to know people when they would, especially when we were waiting on the customers in the meat department, they would come in, and on Friday, they had their day was Friday to shop, and they'd say, well, let's see, what did we have last week? Well, you would say, well, you had a pot roast for Sunday, and you had pork steaks, and you had a couple of veal steaks, and you had so-and-so and so-and-so. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, you would remember what they had, and then you'd go from there. Well, I think I'll get a so-and-so for this weekend. And when you're serving people with what they're going to be eating, you get to know people pretty well by what they eat. You know what I mean? It's just, we're all like that. So it was a personal thing. When they decided to close the store down, it was a hard thing to do, but it was a thing that was timed to do, I guess. We had a lot of people coming in, of course. Oh, they really hated to see it happen, but I think people understood, and real happy that the city of Auburn took that building over and made what they did out of it a real nice facility for the police department. And they did a beautiful job on the building, and they kept the outer structure pretty much just the way it was. And the police department, I've talked to a lot of the officers down there, they love it. They have room to work now, and they did a beautiful job finishing it off upstairs in the courtroom with all the big open beams. Those beams were the original beams, and they refinished them, and they just look beautiful. And it's nice to have it still there, and it really is sort of a landmark, because it was such a huge thing when it all happened. It changed downtown Auburn in a big way, much more so than I even realized, I think. But it was just a great facility, a great place to work. And all the people that worked there were just great people. And they stayed there. They didn't move on. So many of them just stayed there because it was so nice to work there.
For more historical views of Auburn, come see us at the White River Valley Museum at 918 H Street in the Les Cove Community Campus, or you can visit us online at www.wrvmuseum.org. The museum is open Wednesday through Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m. Call us at 253-288-7433 for more information. Thanks for watching. Please join us again for another unique perspective on Auburn, Our Story. With every passing moment, history is made. What will yours be?